Y'all know me, I'm a horny for a warning. Y'all know me, I'm a horny for a warning. Oh, crap. Didn't see you guys there. I wasn't doing anything. What were you doing? Anyway, since you're here, we might as well talk about the Jacob Lundquist Design Kansept Vivid. And at the end of this, you tell me, are you horny for a warning? You tell me, are you horny for a warning? What's up, Kripple Krew? EDC with DBD, disabled but deadly. And that's right, folks, we're back in Kripple Krew Studios. I'm feeling a bit better today, and we are going to be talking about the Kansept Vivid, a sick new Jacob Lundquist design. But before I talk to you about that knife, I'd like to talk to you right quick about this knife. This is a Jimmy Crow customized Vosteed raccoon donated by Jake Anderson. And this is going to be a members-only giveaway given out to somebody this Saturday. And if you would like your chance to win this, your odds are pretty good. After a 2-week vacation and being sick for a little over a week, membership is down 50%. So you've got a pretty good chance. It's only a couple of bucks a month to become a Kripple Krew Inc. member, and you get access to members-only content and members-only giveaways. Of course, that's completely up to you, but members, stay tuned for a giveaway entry video this Friday. All right, enough of that. We're going to get right into the knife we're here to talk about, and that is the Kansept Vivid, a cool new crossbar lock wharnie. You know, Jacob Lundquist Designs, if you're familiar, he has designed knives like the Kaiser Veritas and Banish, the Kvist variant, the QSP Vault, and several other knives. I've always really enjoyed his design language, but this might be my favorite for multiple reasons, and I'll explain why in a minute. Before we do, I'm going to let you know that this is a 7.17 inch overall knife with a 3.04 inch Wharncliffe blade of either CPMS 35VN with a stonewash or satin finish, or a mirror DLC option is available. Or you can also get this in Damascus. You have a 118 thousandths blade stock thickness and a 4.13 inch handle length, and all the handles are titanium and either carbon fiber or fat carbon, some type of carbon, or there is a full dress model of tie and Damascus. Of course, that one is a bit more. This knife comes in at only 3.81 ounces, even with all of this titanium. As you can see, it is full titanium liners with overlays, is what I'm trying to say, of carbon fiber. And it is done very well, very smooth transitions throughout. And to me, it looks beautiful. There's a few options, and I'm going to show you I'm going to show you the 3 that I have here. But I want to point out that these are done as all crossbar locks should be. We have a tip-up, deep carry, and reversible pocket clip. So like I think all Jacob Lundquist knives, this knife is lefty friendly and very, very ergonomic. Wherever you're holding it, it feels great. We have a flat grind that, if you're familiar with Kansept, you know their edges are done very well. This is a pass-around knife that has been used, but these, as long as I don't hit that choil, I should put my finger in it. They're done very well. Nice slicey EDC, but with a strong tip for puncturing. And a beautiful thing about a Wharncliffe blade, A true Wharncliffe is this straight edge, which not only is fantastic for utility cuts and such, but in any type of slice or cut, carries the full strength of the cut all the way out to the tip. Full strength without slipping, which makes these not just fantastic EDC blade shapes, but also great beef jerky defense blade shapes. A Wharncliffe is considered one of the best blade shapes for beef jerky defense because of that straight edge and that pokey tip. The continuous curve of this design is something that you guys are probably familiar with, the fact that I like quite a bit. Because when you see this design, you know it's going to fit into your hand very well in any grip and point that blade directly at whatever it is you are doing. However you're cutting, it's pointed at it and ready to work. Very similar to the continuous curve of a shillin', but with obviously a more beef jerky defense style or tactical available blade. We do have, like I said, titanium bolsters, but we also have a titanium backspacer, and this tail mounted clip is very easy to flip. Well, you can wait, Saint. Lay down, buddy. And as you can see, makes the knife completely disappear into the pocket. And this nice flat pocket clip, smooth pocket clip on this carbon fiber does slide in and out of the pocket very well. The ergos of this grip are fantastic. Lay down and wait, dog. Whether you are holding the knife behind the pivot in a hammer grip or a saber grip, you have a full, or at least I with my extra large glove hands have a full 4-finger grip, but then you have this big, beautiful finger choil that really allows you to choke up and get control of that blade. And you can also gives you a great position. Dog, what is your drama? I gotta pause it, folks. Hold on, please. I apologize, folks. He ran directly into the tip of my elbow hard enough to knock himself cross-eyed. So I had to let Saint out after I gave him some loving. Back to the ergos. The finger choil really allows you to choke up and get full control if you're doing some extended cutting, or, like I said, is a perfect pinch grip position for any type of utility cuts. It's got a good spot for my middle finger to rest. I can pinch right here, throw my finger up on that tip, and have full control of that blade. Even with these finger grooves, it's still comfortable enough to turn around in a reverse grip if you're going to cut some straps, or if you're doing some chest lever grip style for leverage. In a beef jerky Avenger, I am capped off on that butt and behind the pivot with no worries about sliding up on that blade. And in a beef jerky Defender, I'm even more locked in because of that pocket clip locking right into my hand. I don't feel like I'm going to slide on any beef jerky juice. And you know, of course, I always say a fixed blade is the best knife for beef jerky defense, but you use what you've got. And if you are using a folding knife, at least a crossbar lock is very strong. It's one of the stronger EDC style locks that you can get on the market. And this crossbar lock in particular is done very well. The tension on those Omega springs is tight enough that as soon as you pull it back, it wants to go home. You know, I don't like a loose Omega springs, or not loose, but Omega springs that don't feel nearly as strong. Man, I'm failing that all over right at the moment. But these ones feel good enough that it feels like you have a detent when you're flipping it out there, and it just goes home when you pull that crossbar back. So the way the crossbar lock works, if you're not familiar, just to point out right quick, this bar right here has, on either side, there is an omega spring here that provides tension on that bar. And when you pull the bar back, it pulls, or pull the tabs back, it pulls that bar back off of the tab of the blade. When the blade opens, tang I should say, as the blade opens and rolls around, the crossbar will snap over the tang of the blade, and that locks it in, and you have multiple points of contact, so you have very strong lockup and very fidgety action. Another one of the styles with the blue and white carbon fiber and the stonewash, I believe, is currently sold out, but just to show you, the omega springs feel just as good on this, as well as the third one that I have right here, which is the beautiful rose carbon fiber, black rose, and Damascus version. All three crossbar locks feel the same. Very good quality control throughout. I really don't feel a difference in the springs of any of the three, and all three have fantastic lockup. This one would probably be my favorite, and is actually the least expensive of the three, coming in at just under $170 for the 10CR 9CR Damascus. It's a beautiful pattern, and those steels are going to give you good edge retention as well as decent toughness, and this will be a corrosion resistant blade. The CPM S35VN versions, which are going to provide you a little bit more edge retention and I believe even a little bit more corrosion resistance, these are going to come in at just under $180. And then the mirror DLC comes in at just under $240. So still a very good price for titanium, carbon fiber, and mirror DLC S35VN. You do have multiple ways of opening it with the blade hole. You do have this fuller here that I'm going to talk about in a moment. Plus, you know, you can use the crossbar lock itself to open it. So it's easy to thumb roll. And now I fail. You can thumb. I'm going to get into that in just a moment. One of my few negatives on this knife. You can thumb flick it, and of course you can fail the reverse flick. So, you may have noticed already that I have failed deployment on this knife more than you've ever seen me fail on any other knife. And that's where I get to my main concern of this knife. This blade hole and fuller area looks amazing, but it is so smooth. They cleaned it out beautifully on all of them. It is so smooth, no matter which of the finishes. Unfortunately, that means it's kind of slick, and it's not as easy to get a good rip on when you're trying to launch it. Now, if you're using the hole, the blade hole, it is definitely easier because you can get more of your finger into it and launch it out as a reverse flick. And very easy to open with a crossbar lock. But if you're using that fuller, it's definitely not as easy because it is so smooth. So the fuller is more for looks. You know, you can of course use it for the Spidey drop. That works very well. But as a flickin' fuller, it is definitely not the best. But I still think that blade hole functions well enough that once you're used to it, and actually paying attention to what you're doing, it is rather easy to consistently open when you're not trying to be all fast and furious like I was a minute ago. So, while I do say the smoothness of this is a negative, I wouldn't roll out this knife because of it. I love everything else about this knife. The ergos, the look, the edge, the crossbar lock, the tabs, the way that they are stepped on either side and gets, taller as you come back, makes it so easy to grab. And then the ball bearing pivot is super smooth once that crossbar tension is released. Done very well. We've got a very strong knife with all of this titanium and a nice open design with the singular standoff and small backspacer to make it really easy to keep clean in there. There is no skeletonization done to these because it's already cut way down here for the contoured carbon fiber. So there's already a nice weight reduction, but that means that there's not a lot of holes in there for stuff to collect in. So it will be easier to keep this knife clean. That crossbar is a joy to use. And I do want to mention that the carbon fiber and titanium are contoured to make the knife fit in your hand insanely well. Again, the ergos is where this knife truly shines. This feels like a knife that I could hold and use all day long. Let's get into a couple of quick size comparisons before we make this video go over long. We'll start with a couple other Kansept design knives. This is the Dirk Pinkerton Main Street, which you can see is a larger knife. We've got the Tenable Kansept's budget brand. This is the Tenable Prometheus, and it is also a little bit bigger. Let's go with a couple of knives you might be familiar with. How about the CJRB button lock pyrite, which is almost the exact same length, and the Kaiser drop bear. Again, very, very close in length. So that right there should give you a very good idea of the size of this knife. And you know what? Just because, we will compare it to the members only Vosteed raccoon. So you guys get one more look at that. And the raccoon is going to be slightly longer than the Kansept Vivid. So it's getting you that full 3-inch blade. Now, it's not a full 3-inch cutting length because of the finger choil, but it is definitely a trade-off worth giving. And it also means that with this plunge grind starting here and ending right here, you've got all of this sharpening life before you'll ever need to think about making a larger plunge. I don't think you'd ever, this knife, this blade would be so short by the time you got there that there's no need. However, because the stop pin lands back here, if you ever did want to make that bigger, you can without it affecting the closing of the knife. All in all, I do think this is a pretty sick offering. And I think especially that for the materials and price, this is worth checking out. We are talking $170 or $180 for titanium and carbon fiber, full ambidextrous capabilities, and either S35VN or Damascus. I think that's a pretty killer deal. But I want to know what you think. Did these make you horny for wharnies, baby? I hope everybody has a killer day. Stay safe, stay frosty, but most importantly, stay deadly.